But I think you'd have to talk to somebody in that field.
Well, yeah, but that's my point. Through the
Yeah.
years of upgrading of the camera, in what way the less pixels,
Pixel. Yes.
less pic, less of them, and then does the picture get more qualified or however, you know, from it? Because
So you're talking about the accuracy in
yeah,
the imagery?
yeah, both all three. Through when it comes to like every 10 years, look at the performance of what the picture is, how it progress, how it the layout and the progression of it, how it
Well,
changes.
the thing about light, and if you're dealing with light and photons, that was the beauty of photography, was how accurate it was. You can get a mirror image, even with the level of technology back in the 1920s, 1930s, is that
Yeah,
you still get today.
yeah, but here's
And
the thing.
light is the technology. We just create tools to implement it.
Yeah, but when we call them cameras that you stick the gunpowder up on top and you do a big old flash thing
Yeah,
and you take a picture.
and you have to
No,
sit there for a while. Yeah,
yeah, you just gotta hope you put enough the right amount in. But yeah,
I I love your laugh. It's just like Rogers. I'm
okay.
sorry. Go ahead.
But you stop and think about it,
Yeah,
because through each new thing, okay, in what way does it in what way does it enhance the the the, the picture? You
I
know,
think oversaturation and colors and with the technology that we have today, because the photos that I took back in this was junior high for me. I was a grade A student in junior high, especially with tech ed. I was the only A student in
yeah,
tech ed, and I found that the technology and the things that we had to do, you know, there was so much creativity that went into it, and there's so much logic and technical that went into it. You had to know the balance, or to take away or to add an element in order to get the product that you want.
yeah,
When I took that photo, and it was a photo of a tree in the courtyard of the school. This entire the school I went to surrounded itself by a tree that was in a courtyard, and I took a picture of that tree. It was flawless. I mean, it couldn't have been any better by professional photography, black and white. My photo was black and white. That's all you can get out of the the tech
yeah,
from a shoebox. That's all you can get is black and white.
yeah.
So the
But
whole
it depends too on if you set yourself up in the right direction. Like
mhm,
okay, like the less shade, a
mhm,
little, and make sure you're a little bit up where you're getting a lot better angle.
right.
But it makes it pure. It still gets, like you said, the color, but the way the picture weighs out a lot clearer, and it still
It,
has
it
all the
I
original to
was
it.
fortunate enough to not have a windy day. The tree stood
Yeah.
still.
Oh yeah.
And the picture was just pristine. I have the negative and the positive of it. It was like a real, it was done on real film paper, obviously. I had to learn how to develop the film after the fact.
Yeah.
There was a special room for that. Also where the killing was done. Um, yeah, and it was one of the most beautiful photos I've seen to this day, and I created it. So you want to talk about what's better today? I can tell you, I'm not gonna see. There might be some smudge, sort of an effect for something that has to be, because there's light coming inwards to the hole in the box, and that's what's being captured onto the actual film that's placed in the dark room that is the box itself. And so there's the minor adjustments that she would make as far as not that you the photographer, but the wind, the leaves changing position, you get a slight smudge out of that. However, when you look at digital photography and your entire outline of a person is blocked out, square, 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 it really takes away from any detail that you would have had naturally. And that's my opinion.
Yeah. And one thing I've noticed too, when it comes to cameras, okay, you be going down the road, even with a slight speed, you lose the alter.
Well, for me, I understand too why a lot of people would bring the pixel into a topic about time travel too, because the term for the pixel actually came from a guy who worked for JPL, Jet Propulsion's lab for NASA. So it makes perfect sense wherever you came up with that whole thing concerning time travel and pixels. I could understand why that would be included into it because that's when it
It
comes,
it is entirely fascinating.
yeah,
Yeah,
because the guy who actually coined the term pixel was a guy by the name of Billingsley back in like the 1960s. So I could believe that. Before that, there was like the single pixel uh thing that had, you know what I mean? That was like back in 1940s, the first digital pixels. The first thing that I remembered, it was supposed to be like a experimental computer at the University of Manchester, and they called it the Manchester Baby.
the Manchester baby.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of this.
Yep,
Okay.
it's back in 19. It was back in 1947 when they were first coming out with computer science and stuff. It was the first digital
After the
pixel.
Roswell crash, by the way.
Hmm. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's that's a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you hear about that? Okay. They,
And there's this whole I'm sorry. There's this whole thing, and I don't subscribe to it, but there's this whole thing of the time traveling, like if these are aliens visiting us, they're time travelers from the future who have become so polluted. They've maxed out the technology to a level to where, yeah, they're super brains, they're super intelligent, but their bodies are polluted and they can no longer reproduce, so they have to come and steal our genetics. I
um,
think that's a kind of a fascinating subject. I don't know. I have no evidence contrary or to substantiate.
well,
But I go ahead.
yeah, I just find it a little. Okay, they're saying there's like 20, well, from 13 to 20 brands of aliens, and okay, we're not saying that the Greys ain't the ones that's doing it. Okay, the ones that more or less manufacture the humans. We're not saying they're
Dude,
saying
I think
that.
we are the aliens. But go
Yeah, but
ahead.
we might. But I'm saying there's aliens that looks like us. But they're human. They got human form, but they're an alien brand. Okay,
I would
one
say
of them
an
saying
alien
that
brain because you shouldn't go into looks because
yeah,
you have cloaking technology, you have disguising technology. Who knows? And all the stories where people have been approached by God and it's like, oh well, what did God look like? Oh, he kind of looked like you. Oh, well, that's strange. Well, that's because there's this trope of God looking like anything that we may think of what God may look like.
yeah,
So sort of like ad lib. It's
you
filling
know,
in the blank.
yeah, you know that video they show about the alien in Area 51, that
There's
black and
tons of
white.
those.
Yeah, but
Oh,
here,
yes, that
okay.
one. Yeah,
Now here's the thing. That's a perfect example of what I'm saying about pixels. Okay, you look at when,
pixels.
yeah, you look at because they run on about the same property too as the camera does, and you stop to think about it. Okay, for that period of time, okay, you stop to think about it. What quality of pixels are? in the back then when they made that video, as they claim. Okay, and like if it was made back in 1930, and if back there, if 1930s pixels, pic them pixels was like 30 in a picture, and if you can tell, if you could ever find out actually how many pixels are in a picture, that in the whole frame of the picture, how many pixels are in there, you'd be able to probably tell when it was manufactured, because each 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 time thing upgrade and all that would be completely different. The layout, you would think that the pixels would be all, it would be different as well too. The color,
When you say
shape.
pixels, and you're talking about time traveling,
Well, yeah,
so that's an interesting cross section because you can kind of check what is real and what isn't, what
yeah,
is placed and what isn't, and what is. So that's an interesting concept.
yeah. Because you stop to think, like if a person is, if you take a person from one picture to put it onto another, okay, you're planted another person or the thing onto another picture, making a manufactured picture. And if you
Heterodyning images, yes.
and you take the, and but then you stop and look, okay, look at the pixels of it, okay, the size, the quality, and the color of it compared to the outside of it. Are the pixels going to flush with the pixels that's in that one part of that device or whatever you put on there? Are they going to be flush with it? And the same thing with the color.
Well,
Will that
well,
color?
so what I was saying before, and I should give a little more detail to it. So, whenever you're taking a natural photo, and I say natural, and like loosely because it is technology, and the fact that I've made it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever created. Had a literal shoebox, a Nike shoebox, and some other things, and put in a certain technical way, you get a photo. There's a hole in the front that takes in light for a certain amount of hours, and so how I describe the creeping imagery onto the canvas, I describe it as a mold. Like it's going to fill out wherever light is hitting. But when you have a digital photo, again, you're going to get what you call pixels. You're going to get square blocks.
Yeah, but
And if you zoom in, it doesn't matter how 4K it is. If you zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in to a line of any feature, you're
mm,
going to get a square block.
yeah, but for each like for like okay, you take that same camera that you're using, or is it going to be the same 5 years from now? The pixels from that one to that one, is it going to be matched identical to one another?
Okay.
The color
People
and
do
the
do
pixels.
things the old-fashioned way. People like to cling on. If I had known that Polaroids were going to go out of style, I
Oh
would have
yeah,
bought so many Polaroid
yeah.
cameras, and I would have bought so much.
I actually going to tell you,
Yeah,
there is a place that sells a camera just like that today. You can
today.
buy, yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
that's
buy,
the best technology. You cut out the middleman. You don't have to go
yeah.
to a pharmacy, Walgreens, to the photo section. You don't have to. You don't have to do any of that. It's instantaneous. And
Oh,
I
it's just
think
not that.
that got industrialized. Oh, let's take away the Polaroids because you can get a cleaner, crisper images with
Did you hear
our
what
pixels
tell
in the photos that you bring from your computer. Oh,
yeah, did you hear what they that company said? Well, at the
It's
beginning,
Kodiak, right?
yeah, they made the statement that if you can disprove anything about the camera, they'll give you a lifetime of por- of film.
The Kodiak on the spot picture taker, that was the pinnacle.
Yeah, and best part about
And
it
you
is,
add anything outside of that, you've added corporations, you've added middlemen, you added your own wallet. There's just so much to it. It was an entire industry made on top of of having your digital stuff brought in because they can they can mark your devices like USB devices, for example. You can put your own NIN file on these devices, and you can record. You can monitor, and just it just Eric once the corporate and technology boom happened, it became a shadow government boom
Yeah.
because there's so much stuff they're doing and
Oh yeah,
being
but
able to
now,
monitor.
yeah.
And, I and that movie 1 hour photo with Robin Williams, like
Oh yeah.
I remember those days, dude. You can go in, and if and that was a way to tell on yourself. If you chopped up some bodies and you murdered somebody, you took some pictures, that was a way to tell on yourself.
Oh yeah.
Um, there's no Fifth Amendment with that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
just not that. And people that was doing the flying saucers,
Yeah.
they when they take pictures, there's no way of alter, and they would look, and people have said, if you
He's
want
talking
us to
about
believe,
metadata and
yeah,
forensics fabrications and
yeah,
yeah,
they would
no,
take
when you
pictures
took it
with
on the
that.
spot, that was it.
Yeah, they said that if you want to make your point clear, they a lot of places have said where when people would take pictures in, but when they use that camera, they take more of the response of that brand of camera than any other camera because you cannot alter that type of film when the picture slides out from under it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
I mean,
can't,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
they take
If people
more
talk about
response
ghosts
for
and
that.
aliens and all this stuff, I find that there was a so there was a and you can correlate this in the time period. During that time period where there was a surplus of UFO sightings, that's when the Polaroid camera went out of business.
Yeah. Oh, but you know why they went out of business, don't you? They got a little
There's tons
trouble.
of
Yeah.
things that they threw into the market, into the industry,
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah.
But and I found because like I was saying, cameras and VCR cameras when you make a movie of runs in the same process and all that they do in with the pixels. It's like okay when your cloak when you see a cloak ship and all that they're saying well a camcorder cannot record it because you the process of cloak thing, it cannot register anything but what they're seeing. You know, the background of like there's no way for it to register as a ship if it's moving the makes the pixels dance. You know,
There's so much forensics when you take a picture from a Polaroid camera that
yeah.
people will be like, "Oh, that could be fake. That could be faked." But when you
Well,
have the original Polaroid and you do the forensics on the Polaroid in itself, it's like either it's conclusive to what you're trying to prove, or if you took pictures of something that was totally left field, well, that photo's an anomaly.
Well, let me point out something mysterious about tonight's episode. Like you started talking about time travel, and by the time we got into it deep, all of a sudden I'm getting Connect Your Encoder to go live on YouTube Studio. And I, I,
Mm.
I I do find it weird that it does that every time
Hmm.
I get into the topic of time travel. It's just weird because it always does that.
Well, I mean, but you have to have a okay. I'm gonna give my personal experience. When I was attacked by the NSA, I was so they had to put a psyop on me, right? Like this exists, and you have to believe in this. And I'm a scientific mind, and I don't believe. When they were talking to me, saying that they were angels, I was like, nope. Aliens,
oh,
I
but just
think
not that.
that God. Oh, you're God
Wise.
now. Nope. You're barking up the wrong tree. What are you? And it's like I reverse interrogated an AI, and they'd said, "Listen, this is the NSA. We want this, 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 this." And I said, "Oh, okay, great. Hey, go f yourself, because it's not happening." So it was like, at this point, it was like you want to control what the people think and imagery and all that stuff, but I got hit with the technology. That was my big thing. And forensics, forensics, forensics. I've been collecting forensics for years. And so you want to talk about things like time travel and things like that. They want you to believe in something that you can't prove. There has to be some element in your life that affects you that you cannot prove. And one of those things was, oh yeah, we're aliens. We're time traveling aliens. It has to be out of reach. For you, the individual, for myself, the individual, when something happens to us that's weird, we have to. Our psychology says we have to connect it to our environment. It has to be within our control, and so you have to. And a lot of, I'm sorry to bring this on the show, but a lot of target individuals would say, "Oh, my neighbor's mind controlling me," and they would go kill their neighbor or go rob their neighbor. They would start harassing the hell out of their neighbor, becoming the gang stalker they were complaining about to begin with. So this is the psychological operation. So when you have things like time travel, scientists, God, aliens, and that sort of thing, the narrative has to be controlled. And I'm sorry I got too political about this, but uh, this is why these things exist. This is why these things happen. The Polaroid camera was the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah.
There are, there were so many question images of things that happened or may have happened. Well, people are like, oh, Photoshop. And now that we have AI, it's even more clouded. People are not willing to believe in anything that they see anymore and only what they feel. And we know who is Dr. Feelgood, right? We know who that is, and that can control all of us. And so the idea of time travel and the whole the pixel and it's just what a cross section. This is like awesome. I really like this. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I went ahead and I got the stream started again for just a little bit longer. Uh, but I got that last part in it, but it literally did on YouTube. It completely froze it, just stopped it dead in its track. Right, and it was weird how it did that. And I'm not lying. Every single time I've ever done a stream and I start talking about time travel, something weird on YouTube happens. And this goes all the way back even like 10 years of me streaming.
You want to hear something that comes parallel to the time thing? Okay, there's
Yeah.
spots here in the U.S. that, okay, if you stand on top of a hill, water will run up the hill. Uh, there was a car, that was up on the hill, down at the hill. But you know how you got to turn your tires towards the sidewalk? Well,
Right. So that's your, yeah. You don't roll
well,
downhill.
yeah. Well, the thing of it is, the car went up. It did. They have
It
done
went up.
things. Yeah, they went and done tests, and they found out that within these areas, everything goes the opposite. The we call it the gravity is opposite. Like
Oh,
and the time
you
you can,
a gravitational anomaly?
yeah, you can use that too
Really?
as another way of time travel.
Gravitational anomalies. Well, you're so the concept of that is that you're introducing something that is
Naturally,
opposite.
I'm already there. Yeah,
Well, but it's something that's opposite. So I, um, that's like Superman flying. around the planet backwards
Yeah.
and reversing time, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And I don't subscribe to that. I don't.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying,
However, if there is a gravitational anomaly, in order to, I'm not a scientist, but in order to affect local areas around that gravitational anomaly, you, I mean, you're eventually going to, you're going to create a Mandela effect, and you're going to get physics out of sync because our particles, I mean, things, we have synchronicity. We have a harmonious vibe with the planet. When particles get out of the timeline and move backwards, you have potentially not only created an anomaly, an anomal, an anomical, what's the word I'm looking for? An anomalous space, but you may break the physics of everything else around you
well,
and
what's that?
possibly destroying the universe.
Well, yeah, but we're not
So,
saying that's natural
okay.
because it's a natural
So
phenomenon there.
a natural a natural version of that, I think, can still, I don't know, that can blink planets out of
But
existence like a black hole.
Okay, I went and
I don't
pulled
know. Go ahead.
I, I went and I pulled uh the information up for you guys because I've heard of this before, and I'll read it off to you. The places where gravity appears to run backwards, causing cars to roll upwards in neutral or water to flow uphill, are known as gravity hills, and they're
Mm-hmm.
also called magnetic hills, spook hills, or
Oh,
mystery
yeah.
spots.
So that uh, that doesn't contradict what I'm saying. Breaking
Right,
physics.
right.
You're, so if you have something, I don't know what, some sort of gravity generator, a graviton technology, maybe there's some mass of something floating out in space that passes by the planet. It could be many of things that can just get things to rising towards the sky. However, you're breaking physics, so it's got to be something substantial. It can't. So calling it natural, you're going to have to prove that there is something substantial
well,
happening.
yeah,
Technology is one thing. Astrophysics, astrophysics, that's another thing as well. But you're talking about simple places where people live and these weird things are happening. There's a lot more to the story.
yeah. Well, yeah, but like they say too, you got you got you got minerals, you got all that in the ground. Okay, and we're not saying that in a specific way. It's been altered in that certain way. Electrical,
Well,
the
well,
ground.
see, Robert, the thing is though, is like with phenomena like this, okay, it's really it has to do with like obscured horizons and stuff like that. Now this kind of goes into a little bit about like what I was talking to you about with UFOs, like and everybody thinks it's a joke, like I'm picking on people who take pictures of UFOs. All right, but I'm not because you have to look at it literally, is what I'm saying. Like, why is it that it's still, or it's the year 2026 and we're still getting blurry pictures of UFOs? Okay, and if you look at that and you look at the technology that's now available when it comes to photographs, okay, there should be no blurry pictures of UFOs.
Can I
Well,
add something to that?
right.
Can I add, so Samsung, I think they got in trouble because they added to their camera app, they added an element that if you were looking at the moon, it would enhance it or alter it in a certain way that it is so it was not the true image. And when you took the picture,
No,
so if you have something like that that's going on, and you whip out your phone, take a picture of a UFO, you may or may not get that image. I've taken photos of things that weird have happened to me, and they do not show up on my picture phone. They don't.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're able to take that same process, well, if you can take that whole thing, put it into a computer, and do where you like the pixels, the color, and all that.
The forensics would be very interesting to look at for sure.
Yeah, if you were the one able to do that, take the pixels and all that, and set it up to where the what?
Well, see, my hope, what I was going for was like our visuals can be manipulated too. Okay, like
That's what I'm saying.
in any kind of situation, like you have to look at the surroundings that are around you. You know what I mean? Like they can be misleading according to the context. You know, like if you look at like water flowing backwards, or
Yeah,
a car going backwards, you have to look at your surrounding areas, because like instead of it being that, it could be the fact that maybe trees look like they're actually straight, but in reality they're not. You know what I mean? Or things of that nature. Like you could honestly believe that you're going downhill, but in reality you're not going downhill. It's just your perception has been freaking altered.
yeah, like with
Like an
with
hallucination,
Right.
essentially. Yeah.
Right. And like with these UFOs, what if it's not your camera that's the problem? What if
yeah,
they've got some kind of technology that is allowing that only allows you to catch a blur, or
hmm
like a UFO.
S-
Look
Still,
at
yeah.
look at these UFOs. They're discs, okay? These discs are not supposed to be able to fly. Period. It goes against
Mhm.
all physics, okay? And then the trajectory where they can literally turn at a 45-degree angle at a moment's notice. Like that goes against all physics, period.
Well, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't go against physics. It goes against aerodynamics.
Right.
We have a craft within an atmosphere like that we have, you're either flying like a bird or you are utilizing some other kind of physics.
yeah. But you remember when they brought that up about what happened to that airline, Roger, where the nose of the airplane was completely blown out because the positive and negative neutrons hits the belt of the plane itself, and it since they had it fixed up to where when that happens to all the airplanes, it doesn't destroy the airplane, but it literally blew the nose of the airplane completely out. It did, and they said that was because of the neutrons in the air built up far more than, and it just released all that energy into the nose of the airplane, crushed that nose right in.
So there's this thing called heat bursts. So clouds can I'm not a meteorologist, but there are these clouds. Okay, you got clouds. They can collect positive, negative
Yeah.
energy, depending on the ground, what the polarity is. It'll create lightning, yada yada yada. That sort of thing also happens with the moisture. So this is how we get rain when you have this vaporized water coming from the ground, collecting and turning to clouds, and you have a temperature change that might get cooler, and it condensates within the cloud and makes rain. So something that we also have, which is a very rare phenomena, is something called heat burst from clouds. So there have been these small towns around the country who witness a or experience 130-degree weather or 140-degree weather for about 10 minutes at a time. And yeah, it's basically these clouds just shooting heat beams into random areas. The science behind that is it's like tornado science.
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't have a tornado, and you have something that happens in a very, very, very small localized part that doesn't turn into a cloud system, it will eject that energy
Yeah,
to not become that. And
yeah,
you get these heat bursts.
Now
It'll fry crops and
the
things like that.
the flight, the airplane Robert, you're referring to is the Austrian Airlines flight 434. It happened in 2024, and it's exactly what B was talking about. They flew directly into a severe thunderstorm. So
Well, I was thinking it was going to be a heat burst that
yeah,
they flew into.
well,
That's what I was getting into.
it was in Spain.
Hmm.
It was going from Mallorca, Spain. I have a hard time saying that to Vienna is what it was, and it went into like this hailstorm. And I mean, it's in Spain, so you know that it had to have been humid. It's probably hot and everything too. But the entire outer nose cone just it was gone. And the only other time that that's happened was during World War II. There was that wasn't because of a bomber. You know what I mean? Just the Flying Fortress is what it happened to, and that was because of the Germans during conflict. But after that, the only other time it was the 2024 incident, and that was because of a storm, which was what you were just talking about, V. So
yeah. But there's another one.
Yeah.
You have to see the picture of it. It was on NASA up in
Hmm.
high up in the atmosphere where you look down from space, and it looked like a big old thing of light beam in that. And they have to make sure that when they go back down from the space back to Earth, that they stay away from them areas that have them lightning things up in that high altitude before you leave Earth.
Atmospheric lightning.
Yeah,
yeah, I think you're on the
Okay.
same path that we're on.
Yes.
and they were showing that they were, and they said uh, and they had to skin, oh not skin, but what you call it, where fix up all aircrafts and all that to where, because they found out that when an airplane goes through the atmosphere, it built the the positive and negative from the air. So it's like it's just it makes it electrified the skin of the airplane.
Well, but that's more so that's highly, highly focused. When you talk about that situation, you're talking about a lightning strike or a lightning transfer with a pathway of electrons moving from one
Well,
part
you're
of the sky to another. It may include a pathway that might hit a plane, but that's what you're describing.
yeah.
As it's going from the electrons are moving from one part of the cloud to the next. It's
Oh
atmospheric
no no no
lightning.
no no. You're the one that's moving. It's just that you're taking negative neutrons and making them positive by going through. And there's
That
like another
well,
way of going through time because they were talking about that.
when you're
Time.
traveling, yeah, you can change um your electric charge as you travel as a physical entity. You're going to do that.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it was a thing that okay, I don't know what kind of World War II a fighter airplane. I don't know what you call them, but during that time, during this one time,
Mm,
it was on the thing that
hmm.
a fighter went through its thing, and at the same time, the fighter at World War II looked over and seen 1985 airplane from 1985 fly by itself. And the guy from the 1985 airplane looked over and saw a World War II fighter plane at the same time, but going different directions.
Are these two separate reports that matched
No,
up
no, no,
later on?
no, no. This has happened. That they were saying on the thing that at it was the guy from 1985,
Yes.
and he said that's what happened. They more or
My
less
my
the two
my
pilots
question
looked at each
being
other.
my question being there's a report from a guy from 1985. Then there's a report from a guy from World War II or one. Where's the report coming from? Are there two reports, or are they meeting?
Well, it's possible. I just know that on
That's
the
the only way you can
planet.
validate that. Otherwise, it's hearsay, and it's just
Well, it, that's true. But as far as I know, is why not? Because they came up with a whole like about that.
there's so many stories of
Now,
like was it the Bermuda Triangle, and
Yeah.
there are other magnetically
there,
Oh, wait a minute. Write this
charged
down.
places around the planet that can produce a myriad of different ways of different effects, even psychologically. Hell, I think we got our psychotronic weaponry from these anomalies, these magnetic anomalies, excuse me, around the world, because people act weirdly around these places. Oh, it's a gas leak, or it's oh, the government put psychedelics in the in the water to experiment. No, you are somewhere where there is a charge. There's energy swirling, and it's affecting you. End of story. And the government wants
now,
to classify that because they're building their technology on it.
I believe what Robert's discussing is the 1935 flight that took place, and it's probably the most famous one when it comes to this. It was Sir Victor Goddard. He was a British Royal Air Force pilot,
Mm.
and he
Okay.
back in 1935, Goddard was flying a Hawker. It was a biplane, and he was flying it over Scotland on his way to inspect RAF Drim, and what happened was he ended up claiming that he flew over what he noted as uh, an the Air Force. It was a derelict Air Force base with hangars that were falling apart and stuff like that. And then he made claims like cattle were freaking grazing on the runways. Now, shortly after passing the site, Goddard suddenly went through again an unusual storm with like strange yellow tone clouds and things like that, and torrential rain. And then he lost control over his aircraft. But then after he cleared the storm, and he turned backwards, everything was gone, and his bearings were
Everything was
straight.
gone.
Yeah, and his bearings were straight. This is kind of stuff that,
What?
yeah,
No, dude.
yeah,
Okay.
and this goes back into the whole storm thing too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really is weird, and but I think this is actually more of a, it's a phenomenon. It's like hydroplaning on water.
Well,
Like nobody can
I have this like made up fantasy thing in my head to where it's like I think of it like wherever there's a storm, like you know how they'll classify a F5 tornado as the finger of God. It- it's like one of those things where it's like for me when there are weird storms and weird weather happening because the sun gives us seasons, right? We rotate around the sun and we have an elliptical orbit, gives us seasons, right? And with that kind of influence on an entire planet, just based on your positioning in space, don't you think there's other things, cosmic storms or just other things in the cosmos that can just totally warp our reality at any time? Like, like I just think of it like the finger of God or the Bermuda Triangle. There's these I want to
Well,
say cosmic events that happen, and it,
Like
Whether you want to go into that, it's not a new concept. But for me, my question is this artificially handled or is this just nature, astrological Mother Nature? I don't know.
I think it is natural. I don't know if it's astrological or if it's,
well,
but like I was saying with the hydroplaning, okay? When a car hydroplanes on the water, they don't have any scientific explanation for why it does that. Like they to this day they don't know why freaking
Well,
cars
you have
wheels
you have
hydroplane.
inertia and a lack of friction
There's
when you
no
go over
sci
water.
there's no scientific evidence to show
Of
why it
that,
does it. Yeah, just over hydroplaning,
just over hydroplane.
just over
I mean,
hydroplaning.
immediately in my head, I'm thinking less friction and inertia.
Hmm. It's a
I
phenomena.
I, I don't know.
It's a phenomena. It's just
Oh, I
something.
gotta look into that.
It's something that happens, but they have no idea what causes it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I believe that that's what happens when it comes to
It
these storms too.
basically that concept and brought down so much smaller. I mean, well, people have been known to perform miracles, right? Instantly heal someone or just lift a car off of a baby. It-
yeah,
I mean, can you not get focal points of just energy that becomes anomalous? Why not?
yeah.
I don't see any problem with that.
And Robert, I think we should call your first episode quits for the night and then take it up next week.
I'm so glad I got to be on your first episode. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome, and tell Roger I said hi,
Yes, Mr. Landry. Yes, I will.
and for people that knows more about the time like time different types of time devices, what way things are works. If you want to, you can give us be part of the group